Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astrology Mysore. So today we are continuing the series of medical astrology and we are doing the third house. We are going into the third house. The third house, as per the Kala Purusha, represents the shoulder blades, the main shoulder bone, the neck, the lower part of the nose, the lower part of your jaws, and the upper part of your lungs. This is what is generally seen from the Kala Purusha. So now let us go into the details of all the anatomical parts which are actually associated with the third house and what all, very briefly, the diseases or discomfort what a person can face. Very easily, when I tell that it's controlling the throat, very easily we can understand that a person continuously getting infected with the throat, that is throat infection, which usually happens because of contamination of water. So there are certain people who are having too much of tendency towards throat infection and they often get attacked. Like in a year, they get attacked 3 or 4 times. The virus gets built up there and again they'll have to go through the medication. So these infections are very often in those people who are having a malefic weak planet or a benefic weak planet in the third house. So you should understand, if the malefics are strong in the third house, it gives rise to an extraordinary yoga. But here, malefic weak planets and benefic weak planets, they lack the strength to protect the house in which they are posited. So the arms, the neurological functions, all the neurological connections, the nodes, all this spreads out from the neck to the arms through your shoulders. So this whole thing, if you put your arms wide and take a particular strip, that is the third house. So all the parts and the organs which are there consisting that particular area fall into the third house, and we need to check the chart, analyze it, study the drakana, and then pronounce if any problem is there and whether the person can come out of it, get cured or not. So the neck, the nape of the neck, the trachea, that is the windpipe, the throat, the esophagus, that is the starting part, the foot pipe, the starting part of the foot pipe, that's the first half of the foot pipe, the larynx and the esophagus.
Some people will have cancer also. No?
Yeah. There's a lot of, starting from throat cancer, we can go till the esophagus, and the starting of the bronchi, just before that, is the third house. So all the thyroid glands and the thymus glands, the most two important glands are here. Thyroid gland is regarded as the second most important gland in our body. It is the one of the master glands. Thymus gland is situated in between the upper part of the lungs, just near the first rib of the rib cage from the top. So this thymus gland is very important because it is the one which controls our immune system, because it controls the T cells. So the blood vessels and the lymphonodes, which are all connecting, lymph nodes are everywhere in the body. So the major lymph nodes which are actually connecting the brain, the spine, and the back of the neck, and then it comes into the front towards the shoulder and then goes down. So all those lymph nodes are all to be seen in the third house. Cervical spine, and particularly the seventh vertebra of the cervical, from the count, you can see that people suffering from cervical spondylosis, people have putting that collar neck, support, and it's a very painful thing, and they will be suggested, orthopedic cushions, pillows, so many things. So you should understand that all this, the bone structures, the neurological connections, the veins, the arteries which run through the neck is also to be seen in the third house. The jugular vein, the main vein which passes here, is also the third house, which is very, very important. If that's cracked or that's squeezed, the person's life is in danger. A very, very what we call as a soft point, or very tough point for a person when he has a neck fracture or a neck injury in an accident. All accidents of the neck or the shoulder or the arms, even fingers, have to be seen from the third house. The backbone portion up to the neck, ears, the hearing ability, the anatomy of the right ear is to be seen from the third house. In particular, right ear, but hearing ability and speaking ability are seen from the third and the 11th houses very clearly. So you need to divide the chart like the first house and the seventh house here. I have done it in one of my videos. If possible, I'll put that link in your in the last. You can get that. The first house and the seventh house are here with the second, the 11th. Sorry, the second, the 12th, the third, the 11th, the fourth, the 10th. Then you have the fifth, the ninth, and then you have the sixth and the eighth. So these are all linked. So you can understand this is how the left and the right are linked. This is how the human body is. So the hearing ability is represented by Mars. The understanding ability to understand how, the processing ability is Jupiter. So totally the ear and the parts of the ear, the organ, is controlled by Mars first and then Jupiter next. The nose, now we spoke about the nose and the capacity, the olfactory and all those things yesterday, because it was represented in the second house, because it is starting from the face. Again, you have the cavity here, which actually is used by the nose through breathe. So that is the windpipe. So that also controls the nose. Why does it control? Because any infection happens in the throat directly is also related to the nose and the sinus cavities. So these three can get infected: the first house, the second house, and the third house, and that is why the nose. So it is responsible for voice production. So you can understand that some people have nasal voices. They'll be talking like this. I'm not making fun of them, but I'm just telling you, just gave an example. The bass voice, what I am talking, I don't have a nasal touch, but in some syllables, where my wife will be making fun of me, when I talk, I'll be telling, she'll ask me to tell some letters, and when I come to M, she'll tell, oh, it's yum. No, it's M. So some syllables, it's very difficult for a South Indian to suddenly adjust. So we have our slangs and we have our touches. So this nasal touch is in some races, in some countries, some languages, the nasal language is very much used. Malayalam nasal language is used a lot. Even in Tamil, nasal language is used. So some touches, some places only. I'm not telling that they have the nasal touch throughout. Some syllables have nasal touch, and people who are suffering from the third house, they will have very difficult to in communication with, either they go very high in the tone or very less. So they will have difficulty in communicating in those languages, just for that particular purpose, not to make fun of people who are having a beautiful nasal touch. For example, our great singer who have become famous and gave a lot of super hits in Bollywood, Kumar Sanu. Excellent. I keep telling that he had a Himesh Reshamaya is a little bit, but Kumar Sanu, yes, the nasal touch. Great singer. Thank you. So shoulders and the girdle of the shoulder. This, mostly, if you see people who are riding bikes and they fall down with an injury, this is a part which is very, easily it gets damaged, because they fall either on the right or the left. They give their shoulders, they give their elbows to the ground, and this has to be protected. So people who are having a weak third house, if you are thinking of doing biking, please be sure that you do exercises to your shoulders so that you get a strong shoulder. Pull ups, calisthenics, number one exercise for shoulders. So, when we go into the Uttara Kalamrita, not much has been differently written there. All these points are also once again, replicated there. But Uttara Kalamrita specially emphasizes the feet in the third house, and the feet in the sense that the toes and the sole of the feet. So we need the four of the feet, so the whole feet. So we need to do research in this to understand, because most of the books, all the epics, do not refer feet there. But Uttara Kalamrita by Kalidasa refers feet in the third house. So third house for stammering, third house for communication difficulties, third house for difficulty in vocabulary. Medical astrology should also be that why is a person who is studied so well, he is a professor to a certain level, but his teaching capabilities are very low because he has very difficult communication. You can see that in many people who have studied and done double doctorates, when they come to the stage, they have a difficulty in communicating. Not only on the stage, that they don't have fear, they have zero fear, but can't communicate. Or some people are there who communicate in such a level that you will not understand. Their vocabulary is too high. She is giving me a prompt of Mr. Shashi Tharoor, a great politician who has a vocabulary to a different extent. People, make a lot of reels on him, but I don't want to make a reel out of him, but still, I learn a lot of words from his speeches also. So, because recently one person had made a educative reel, telling that learn English from Shashi Tharoor. So there was the word rapacious. So I was learning all these words. So the vocabulary, the strength, the flow of mind to the tongue. This is very important. This is where it gets hampered in many cases who are having neurological dysfunctions, along with a bad moon, a bad Mercury, and a bad Saturn. These people have a tough time to communicate, to put forth their own opinions and thoughts. Is very difficult for. They are very good in writing. You give them the pen, the paint, the brush, they are very good, because that also comes into the third house. The third house means your dexterity, how your fingers are good in both hands. There are people who can write with both their hands. They write a different language here and a different language here on the same board. One he is writing from behind, the one he is writing from front, that is towards, and that is reverse, but both can be read in the same direction. I really pray to them, great man, you people are having the highest mind control with your arms. So these people are called ambidextrous. So dexterity, motor nerve systems to your hands, your communication ability, the flow of thought, impairment of the voice, the difficulty of the thyroid system, myxedema, cretinism, Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, and even Graves' disease. All this comes from thyroid. When the T3, T4, TSH it goes up and down, because the TSH is released by the pituitary gland, which is actually a thyroid stimulating hormone, which actually checks the quantum of thyroxine in the blood, and it prompts the thyroid to function more and give more thyroxine. But what if the thyroid gland is dying? The pituitary will not understand. It will start pumping TSH. It will be telling, why are you not working? You have to work, you have to work. So then that's where you go to the blood work, and you see, when you get your blood work done, you can see that T3 and T4 are very low when the TSH is above normal, or it's big. abnormal actually. The range now I think it's around 0 to 5 ngml, and above 5 ngml it's border case, and very much above 5 ngml you have to go for treatment. So endocrinologists are to be seen. And for the neck, there are other problems like thrombosis, problems of what I said is the cervical spondylosis, and tech neck syndrome, the new one. The tech neck syndrome is, as good as your tennis elbow, which has just come newly. We human beings, we invent diseases because we our lifestyles are all, God bless, they are all in a very haphazard manner. So the tech neck syndrome is those which get affected because of the neck in one position. When you are seeing the laptop and you are working continuously in one bent position, your posture is gone. And because of that position, which is around 45 degrees bent, and you are always focusing on particular words, this gives a severe cramping pain in your neck, and you will not be able to lie down straight. So this tech neck syndrome, which has just entered into the new medical world, is very new to.
Occupational hazard.
This is an occupational hazard. You also have this digit syndrome. This is the finger which uses the space bar. So people who are using space bars, they get this problem. And people who are not having the right ergonomic chairs, they don't have. I use wooden chair. I use the wooden chair. You might have seen that in many of my videos. Today I'm not sitting on that, but I use a straight high back wooden chair without my armrest, so that my arms will not fall on the rest, and my blood will not stop circulation to my elbows and then to my wrist. So the wrist, the digit, that is particularly the thumb, the elbow, the shoulder, frozen shoulder, elbow, tennis elbow. You have the wrist, which again gets frozen. You have the digit, which gets cramped up, and you have the tech neck syndrome. This is all because of sedentary lifestyle and continuous working without a break in a particular posture, which a person doesn't understand that you are not supposed to do it hours together. So all this put together is the third house in astrology, and medically we have to to do diagnosis through astrology, medical astrology. We need to do all this in detail.
I want to add one thing.
Yeah.
Excuse to all the doctors if we say misplace the organs.
Yeah.
Please.
So if we are asking that particular excuse that ma'am is telling, that we are having the limited knowledge of anatomy. We are studying and we are still studying. We'll keep studying. So if at all we do some mistakes in our terminologies. So when I tell lymph nodes, if I don't mention it properly, or if I tell the thymus gland, I don't mention its functionalities properly, please excuse us. We are astrologers, and we are nowhere near the doctors. Doctors do a lot of hard work, to finish MBBS, MD, and go ahead, do their MCH, and then do something else. Oh my God, they are doing a very, very hard work, and that's a different line of service. So this is a different line of service. So we are trying to merge a huge science along with another great, historical science, and try to get benefits out of it. So thank you very much for today's class.